Good morning. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Um, there's going to be two videos today. I wanted to do one uh, that has, of course, just the homework assignment from last night and then the lesson that you're going to learn. So hopefully, if it's not on its way to you, the note sheet that you're going to have will be passed out here in just a couple of minutes. But I want you to get your homework out. I'm not going to work through every one of these. I've got it kind of set up where I'll work through a couple, but some of them I left done because I thought they were fairly simple. For example, number 2, your answer here should have been 3x squared minus 2x plus 4 minus 2 over the divisor 3x plus 2. Again, if you missed anything here, you can see it, hopefully take a quick picture, and you can check to see what your mistake was. But I want to move along and do the next one. And I've got it set up, but I wanted to do this one with you because it had a couple of different things about it that are a little different. For example, in your divisor, there's no x term. So here's what ends up happening in a case like that. You're still going to start off by taking your first term in your dividend, which is 3x to the fourth, and you divide it by that x squared. And that's going to give us 3x squared. So I'm going to put 3x squared way over here above that one because, again, it kind of gives me a sense of when I know I'm going to be done. So that's what I'm going to distribute. And here's what ends up happening. 3x squared times x squared is, of course, 3x to the fourth. And 3x squared times positive 2 is positive 6x squared. So again, if I put that in the right spot, I'm not putting it underneath this 4x cubed. I'm putting it underneath this x squared. Now, when I go to the next step and I change my signs, sure, this is going to cancel like it has been. But that 4x cubed doesn't just vanish. It has to drop down. So 4x cubed will now be my new first term. Now, along with that, you've got 1x squared minus 6x squared. That's negative 5x squared. And we're still going to bring down that next term, positive 8x. Now, again, like I said, 4x cubed is my new first term. It gets divided by x squared. Of course, the x cubed divided by x squared is just x, so it's going to be 4x. Positive 4x is the next value that I'm going to distribute. Okay, so hopefully you guys see how that's going to end up causing the problem to work. So 4x is now what I'm distributing. So 4x times x squared is the 4x cubed. And then 4x times positive 2 is positive 8x. So again, next step, we're going to change our signs, subtract. These will cancel. And negative 5x squared drops straight down. And in this case, the positive 8x minus 8x cancels. So that term's gone now anyways. And then minus 10 drops down. So our last time, our new first term is that negative 5x squared. And when we divide it by the x squared, I know this is it because those x squared terms cancel. And just negative 5 is going to be the value that we're going to distribute. So here we go. And this will be our last time that we distribute. Negative 5 times x squared, negative 5x squared. And negative 5 times positive 2 is negative 10. So when I subtract, when I subtract, these signs change. That turns to a plus. That turns to a plus. This cancels, and so does this. So this problem had no remainder. Our answer was simply 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. So a little different there because of how that gap kept being left, and those values still had to drop down. So I wanted to show you that one because it was a little different than any that we'd seen. I also want to do number 6. Sorry about the bell. Probably going to hear another one here in just a minute. But this one was a little different because your divisor was a trinomial. It was a quadratic. So again, that really doesn't change anything. It actually makes this problem a little easier because we're going to take the first term in our dividend, 2x cubed, and we're going to divide it by the first term in our divisor, which is x squared. So we're only going to have to do this a couple times because 2x cubed divided by x squared is just 2x. So 2x is going to be the first value that I distribute. So here we go. 2x times x squared, 2x cubed. 2x times negative 3x, that's negative 6x squared. 2x times 5 is positive 10x. So now we're going to subtract. That changes to minus, that changes to plus. That changes to minus. These cancel. Negative 1 plus 6 is positive 5x squared. And negative 5x minus 10x is negative 15x. You're going to bring down the plus 28. And we're going to do this one more time. That's it. Because 5x squared is my newest big term. And then I'm dividing that by x squared. Those x squareds will cancel. And sure enough, 5 will be the last thing that I multiply by. So 5 times x squared, 5x squared. 5 times negative 3x, negative 15x. And 5 times positive 5, positive 25. When you change your signs, that's a minus, that's a plus, that's a minus. These cancel, and you're left only with a remainder of 3. So again, what do we do with that remainder? We put it over the entire divisor. So sure enough, the denominator is x squared minus 3x plus 5. So that's the entire answer. 2x plus 5 plus 3 over x squared minus 3x plus 5. So there you have it. Again, notice how with all these problems, I was only able to use long division because even though 2 was linear, it didn't have a coefficient of 1. And 4 and 6 were both quadratics, your divisors were. So we flip over to the back. Again, number 8, I went ahead and did. I wanted to do number 10 with you. Not because it was overly difficult. It just, there was going to be one that I did, and that was going to be the one. So I did want to do this part with you, though. Remember, and this is the part that everybody kind of struggles with, what I've shown you here, nobody struggles with, generally, once you learn it. But remember, x cubed divided by x is going to cause this first term to be x squared. It's going to drop 1. And then, of course, x constant remainder. So writing my answer the way this question is written would be x squared minus 1x minus 3 minus 2 over your divisor x minus 1. Okay? So that's your answer to number 8. Let me do number 10 with you. Again, I'm going to leave space in case you didn't quite see that or get that. So the number in my box, remember if my divisor is x plus 3, the number in my box is negative 3. Now, this is why I'm going to do this one. It starts with x cubed, so the coefficient of x cubed is 2. And then you work your way down. Look, there is no x squared. That's okay, but you got to put a 0 in its spot. There is an x, that's negative 14. And there is a constant, that's positive 10. So we're going to bring down that first term too. And then like I said yesterday, it's annoying, you're going to multiply and combine until you're done. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. 0 minus 6, negative 6. Negative 3 times negative 6, positive 18. 18 minus 14 is 4. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, and 10 minus 12 is negative 2. So the last thing I'm going to do, and this problem is done, is I'm going to assign my variables. Look, x cubed is being divided by x. Well, that's naturally going to drop down to x squared. Then we have x. Then we have constant and remainder. Listen, if your remainder is not the last thing, you've made a mistake with your variables. It's got to work its way down, constant, then remainder. So this answer, the way it's written, would simply be 2x squared minus 6x plus 4 minus 2 over x plus 3. Okay? All right. So again, sorry about the bell that keeps on ringing. I'm going to leave 10 there in case you didn't quite get it. But I'm going to show you one more thing with number 12. Look, this is x to the 4th this time, and it's being divided by x. Again, it's going to lower 1. So this has to be x cubed, and then it works its way down, x squared, then x, then a constant, and then a remainder. See, it's always got to work out like that. If it doesn't work out like that, you made a mistake in your division. X to the 4th divided by x has to naturally lead down to x cubed. So my final answer here would be 1x cubed plus 4x squared plus 9x plus 4 plus 1 over x minus 4. Okay? All right, number 14, I went ahead and just typed it, or I worked that one out. It was a fairly simple one. It was kind of like number 2. Wasn't really any trick to it. There was no remainder, which was nice. Your answer simply was 3x squared minus 5x plus 6. Again, if you struggle with that, then you might definitely want to take a quick picture of it and check out where your mistake was made. And then the last two, I've got them set up. These are just asked a little differently, and we're simply checking to see whether or not it's a factor. So yesterday, remember, we said the key is the remainder. That's why I left that box there. If that remainder is 0, then sure enough, it's a factor. So here we go. Let's do this one. Let's bring down the 1. And here we go. Negative 2 times 1, negative 2. 1 minus 2, negative 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. 2 minus 13 is negative 11. Negative 11 times negative 2 is positive 22. And 22 plus 14, because they're both positive, is 36. That's definitely not a remainder of 0. So this one's a big negative. It's not a factor. So you probably could assume that the next one will be, but let's check it. And I'll leave both of them up so you can see it. Bring down the 1. 5 times 1, 5. 5 minus 7, negative 2. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. 14 minus 10 is 4. 5 times 4, positive 20. And sure enough, 20 minus 20 is 0. So this one has a remainder of 0, so therefore, yes, it is a factor. X minus 5 is a factor. So there you have it. Okay, I hope that you guys did well on that homework assignment. If not, then go back over it, look through it. I don't mean to do that. I have no idea what just happened. Anyways, I don't even know where that came from. Double screen. All right, so we're now going to start our notes over today's assignment.